Hey, it's Renee from Create Your Own Story by Renee Christine. I do want to do a quick flip through of my traveler's journal, traveler's notebook, so you guys understand what a traveler's notebook is, if you haven't already researched it. But basically, this is my traveler's notebook. I actually keep it presently in this little cover. What I do is I take it with me on road trips, where I can keep pieces of our trip, little mementos, and save them and later put them together for journal or collage. What that looks like is this. I'll cut out pictures from magazines, like at the truck stops, things like that. Our last trip was to Amelia Island. I'll write some journaling about what we did, where we went, and pictures, receipts, things like that, different things we did. We went to an antique mall in a small town, so there's a receipt here, and I just decorated the journal. This is fairly new. I just made it at the beginning of the year, but it's just kind of a little record of where you've been. I mean, even if you're only traveling in the country or in the United States, if you're traveling around the world, great. There's a whole lot more you can do. This is just a journal that was completely made from scratch, with the exception of one insert that's in here. And basically what I'm going to show you how to do are step-by-step process on how to make your own with stuff you have around the house. So basically what this journal is, or how I'm going to show you what to do, is you make 3 sections. These are called signatures. These pictures all come from calendars, and you fill them up with pages, folders, different things you can do to them, just to kind of put together a notebook. I made this cover. I love these colors, so I made this cover from the cover of a magazine I picked up at a truck stop. It kind of fit because we're always taking road trips. We're always just going just to check things out. We call it, I forget what we call it. we just go and we drive, and then we just keep driving, and we turn left, we turn right, and then when we want to get back home, we put our GPS on and home and head back home. We call it exploring, because we moved to where we live now a couple of years ago. When we first got here, we didn't really know much about it, and when I lived here before, I hadn't really gone anywhere except for where I went to high school. But anyway, so I love these colors. I love the fact that it had a map on the inside of the state of Georgia, which is where I live, and this is what I used for my cover. And then here you have these 3 sections of the book. They are called signatures. The idea is that you make these signatures, and as you fill them up, and you go through and you add your collaging and your journaling, whatever, when you're done with this one and you fill it up, you can take it out, and your other 2 move forward, and you can add another one, and you can use this throughout the year. You can use it however quickly, however much you want to journal, or whatever you want to do with it. Use it as a planner. You can store things in it. There's a couple items I actually added to mine where you can put business cards. There's a business card holder they make, a little zipper pouch if you wanted to put little pieces, mementos, such as these over here in this signature. I've got cut out thing. While my husband's driving, I'll be tearing out these pictures and sticking them in my notebook. And then in here I put a local map. We were actually looking at houses, so I kept the information in one spot as we were traveling, and as we notated where we were, I just wrote everything down in here. It was just a quick and easy place to throw stuff in. So what I'd like to do is show you guys how to do this, how to make these signatures, how to, do this all from scratch. You have scratch papers you have at home, calendars. There's a lot that you can do. Basically what I would say is first find a calendar or some pictures that you'd like to use as your covers for these signatures that fit into the notebook. Find something thicker cardstock paper that you would like to make your outside cover. And inside papers that I use, I do have a file folder that I've put in here. It adds as additional pockets. So you can, again, I've been tearing out pictures I think I'm going to add later in my journaling. And I will use blank paper, which I go in and stamp later. I use the journal, the other half of the calendar pages, I use those because I'm probably going to collage right over this. I love flowers, so I'm just going to leave those in there. I'll probably put something over this and cover this. It's basically yours what you want to do with it. You can create it however you want. You can create it very formal. If you wish to be more formal with it, you could actually buy this and put it together, but some of the options that they do have besides that business card holder, they've got a little pocket folder that you can buy online fairly cheap. I think it's, I want to say it's like $3, but I can give you that information. And then they've got these little calendar and grid paper, so you can do, if you like to do bullet journaling and keep this as your planner, this is something you can add in. Or you can simply do your own thing by taking your own grid paper and just making it one of your pages that you're going to put in here. So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what this is. Looks kind of cool, bunch of pictures I like. It's customized strictly to me. It's not something I bought in the store. It looks kind of, I don't know. It's put together by me, so I like it. And let's get started, but I just wanted to give you an example of mine that's already put together. And we'll put the whole thing together, we'll build it, and I hope you enjoy this. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start out by letting you know what you need to have together to make this project. I'm going to go over the supplies really quick. First thing you'll want to find is a calendar or anything that's 8.5 by 11 that'll work for you to use as your exterior photos on your each signature and on your exterior book. So if your calendar cover is thicker cardboard or cardstock type paper, I would use that as my outside cover, and then I'd use the thinner pages in between for the covers for the signatures. So one calendar or 4 photos of your choice, one being thicker paper, the other 3 smaller, 8.5 by 11. Some white paper to put into your signatures, some grid paper. You can pick this up at any office supply place. I've got 2 pages of grid paper. You're going to need scissors, a large needle, thread, elastic, and a paintbrush. You will also need Mod Podge because you'll want to coat your papers and your signatures with Mod Podge in order to make sure they don't get all scratched up and tear really easy. This acts as a great coating for that. So what I have here are some other things you might want to have. They're not required. They just make it a little bit easier. This is an awl. You will use it to puncture holes in your signature to keep the papers together. But you can basically use anything that is sharp. You can use the edge of scissors, whatever works, a needle. And then this is called the bone folder. You can use this to fold your pages, make them nice and smooth. Not required. You can also use a ruler for the same thing. And then this is an alternate source for elastic. I picked up some of these at the dollar store. They're headbands. You get like 6 of them in a pack for $1. And these actually fit perfectly over an 8.5 by 11 book to be used for combining the signatures together. So just wanted to give you those options. And now we're going to start putting one together. So I'm first going to start with the signatures. I'm going to use this page for the cover of my traveler's notebook. And then I'm going to pull 3 pages out of my calendar that I'm going to use for my signatures. Now, I've got 3 signatures in my existing traveler's notebook. I'm just going to go ahead and make a bunch of them because I'm going to be switching these out throughout the year. You can do 1 signature a month, whatever you want to do. This is yours to make however you want to make it. You're going to be the one carrying it around. You're going to be the one looking at it. So I'm going to use this as my outside cover. And I'm going to choose one more here for my covers. This one is an awesome picture, but if I fold it, it might not, you know, on one side I'm going to have the fox, and the other side I'm going to have the fox's rear. So probably not a good one. Oh, this is a good one. So here's another, yeah, I think I'll go with this. So I will have 3. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, the polar bears are cute too. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 pictures. These are going to be the exterior pages, exterior page folders for my signatures, and then this one, because it's thicker, is going to be my exterior to hold all 3. So this is basically going to be the outside of my traveler's notebook. The first thing you're going to want to do is fold each one of these in half, line them up, and fold them. We're going to go ahead and make 3. We could make 1, but I think what I'll do is I'll go through and show you 3 different ways, 3 different things you can do, and we will see how that works out. So for now, I'm going to set 2 aside, and there's a decision you'll need to make here. If the inside of your cover, you want to have something on it besides the calendar page that came with the calendar, you will want to get a piece of cardstock or white paper and simply glue it on top of this, cut it out, and do the inside so it's a plain color. We can do that in our 3rd one maybe, or our 2nd one, but for now, just for the sake of let's get one of these put together, we're just going to make this quick and easy, plain and simple. I am taking 2 pieces of grid paper, and I'm going to take 3 pieces of regular paper. All I'm going to do on these is fold them each in half, just like I folded the covers. And this is where this bone folder comes in handy. Makes it a nice straight fold, but you can do this with a ruler. I'm going to continue using this. Fold each page. So this is the easy. Let's throw this together. Create 1 signature, and I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 pieces of grid paper. I could only find this grid paper that had the holes in it, so you may want to find grid paper that does not have holes. So I'm putting these 3 inside each other, and you're just going to basically stack them up whatever order you want them in. If you want the grid paper separate, or if you want to go ahead and put it inside. So you've created yourself a little folder, which this is going to fit inside of here. So again, if you want your internal page to be filled with some other pattern, I usually put stuff right over it. or I'll glue a pocket, a corner pocket, but we can go over that too. So this is the basic guts of your signature. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to trim off this edge with a pair of scissors. Alright, so I've cut the edges off so the white part is not hanging over. So you have a nice clean edge here for your signature. So when you look inside, you've got some blank pages, you've got some grid pages. The grid pages are great for bullet journaling, calendar, just so you can draw in your own format, handwrite, notes, lettering, whatever you want to do. So the next thing you want to do is just put this together so the pages are going to stay together. So I'm going to start with this one being a very simple format here. Get anything that you can that's sharp, such as this, and find the middle. These don't have to, you can measure and be exact and precise if that's what you would like to do. But I'm just going to go ahead and poke a couple holes here right in the fold. Try to, basically what I'm doing is putting a spot where my thread's going to go to hold this all together. Alright, so we've got 3 holes in here, and we will thread a needle. We'll take our string. I measure out about 2 lengths plus a half of the string. I'll thread it. You don't have to tie a knot or anything. You can just thread your needle. This is a large upholstery needle from Singer. This one's old. This one's my grandma's. As you can see, it was 30 cents. So this was probably 1940. But I got this kit from her quite some time ago. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to poke a hole in my center. Pull it almost all the way through. And then I'm going to come into the top, pull the thread through, and then I'm going to come back into the center. And back into the, oops, make sure you don't let your thread come through. Go back through, so see I'm coming back through, and I'm going through my 3rd hole here and pulling it through like that. Make sure that all your thread is nice and tight. No, nothing loose. My cat is helping me. She's helping me make this. So you're going to want to tie a little knot here. Make your knot right where your center hole was. And just, this is so funny. That's Tigger, everybody. Tigger likes to help me art journal sometimes and create. So I'm not going to kick her out of here because she's pretty funny. Alright, so hold where your knot is because you don't want to let the string get loose. And there you go. You can cut these pieces off. Some people will put little beads or things like that and let it hang from their journal. I think for now I'm going to leave it like that so we can look at what we're doing. So you've got a little notebook put together to do with what you want. And it will be one of 3 signatures that will go inside your notebook. Hopefully you understand this process. I'm going to give you an idea on what you can do on the other 2 next. Okay, so the next one that we're going to work on, the next signature, I'm going to give you another option or show you another option. What we can do is we can take some papers and we can put them on the inside of your, we talked about covering up that calendar. So I'm going to walk you through that process really quickly. I have picked paper from this Bo Bunny Genevieve collection. I picked it a great place to pick up craft supplies if you're just getting into it. And I pretty much get most of my supplies there, is Tuesday Morning. Tuesday Morning has got, like, I don't know where they get their craft supplies from, but they're at really deeply discounted prices. So I've picked a piece of paper from that collection, and basically what I'm going to do is I am going to take my signature that's going to look like this, and on the inside of it I'm going to glue this on top of it so the inside of my signature looks more like a nice nice cover, is covered and doesn't have that calendar on the inside. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Mod Podge, because that also works as glue, and I'm going to put that on the back of my piece of paper. I'm going to set that up here. I'm going to put this on the back of the piece of paper, and then I'm going to lay my calendar page on top of it, line them up, and glue them together. So I have a nice inside cover. So this is the second one. You don't have to, you can also use double-sided tape if you have that. This will hold it down a little better, unless you want to use up your double-sided tape, but whichever works best for you is great. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to take a quick look at what side I want this to be the bottom, and then this is going to be my cover. So I'm going to lay that down. I've cut the paper to be the same size as the calendar. Now, the calendars aren't exactly, it depends on your calendar, what size it's going to be. 8.5 by 11 paper works best for this size calendar, but the page was slightly larger. So now, instead of having my signature, here's the one we worked on before, and we've got the papers inside, but the inside we have a calendar. Now we're going to have our inside calendar, inside of our signature is going to look more like a normal book. So I'm going to fold that in half. And then the next thing I'm going to do to have a nice touch, that'll dry in just a little bit, and I'm going to put Mod Podge on both this side and on this side, so I have this protected. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've made 3 of these different ways. This first one was done with just the papers, no Mod Podge, just simple paper, because you certainly don't have to use the Mod Podge. And I'm leaving my insides like this because I'll be adding to it. And then this other one was the one that we did together. I had pre-stamped my pages, and this is this one still also has the inside. And then this other one, this other one that I completed with the waterfalls, I put some colored paper on the inside as well. There you go. And just to make it look more like a book, again, blank pages. And you can fill these up as much as you want or as little as you want with papers. Grid papers are great for charts, calorie counting, which I try to do, but I'm not very successful at. Blank paper, you can put lined paper in here. But here are the 3 that I made. So the next thing I went on to do was I took my cover page from my calendar, and I covered both sides with Mod Podge. Still leaving this how it is, because I'm going to add to the inside covers, and I'll actually show you some things you can do with that as well. So how this is going to work out is these 3 are going to fit inside, and we're going to affix them with the elastics that we had. Okay, so you'll need 4 pieces of elastic, one for each signature, and then one to hold them all to the cover. Go ahead and cut 3 pieces of your 1/4 inch elastic and make it just a little bit shorter, about the length of your book, and then you can adjust it later. You don't want it to be too tight, but you want it to be tight enough to hold things in there so everything doesn't slip around. What you're going to do is you're going to take, let's continue on with this one, you're going to take a piece of the elastic and you're just going to tie it to your signature like this. Easier said than done. Do this stuff on camera and it never works out. You might want to make it a little bit longer so you have room to tie your knots. I always forget about that. So I'm going to tie my knot for the elastic to stay tight. Let's see if I can get that to hold. Okay, so now I've got, this goes here. Again, you can trim these or not. I'm going to go ahead and trim this one because I don't want these to get in the way. And I'll show you, I'll leave one long so we can do something different. So go ahead and do that with the 3 that you've made. And I'll stop the camera for a bit and finish it. Okay, as you can see, I took one piece of elastic and put it over each signature. So you end up with 3 signatures. You can make as many as you want. The idea is that once you fill up one signature, you can take it out, set it aside, and if you've made 4 or 5 of these, you can put it back into your traveler's notebook and continue on. You're not going to like overfill it, or some people like it really chunky, so they will keep adding to it. But here is what the end, here's how we put it together. So you've got your 3 signatures, you've got your cover. So you're going to take your 4th piece of elastic and you're going to put it over your cover. I made this one a little bit loose just so I could show you how to put these together. So you're going to take your first signature, open it up to the middle and slide it through here. You're going to take your second one and it's got this already on it. You're going to slide that one through the elastic that is on your, this is why these get in the way, the elastic that's on this signature here. And it goes in like that. And then your third one is going to go on the piece of elastic that's on this book. That was a little bit loose. You might want to make this elastic a little tighter, and I can tighten that up. I'll do that in just a second. So what you end up with is a book that you can make notes in, carry with you. And then the final thing, you may have to trim up these edges here a little bit of your papers, depending on how many signatures you put in. This one I went ahead and trimmed them up ahead of time. And the last thing you'll want to do is take one more piece of elastic. You're going to tie it this way because you're going to want to be able to hold this stuff in. So I make that one a little snug, but not too snug, because you're going to want room for everything you collect on your trip, on your journeys, on your road trips, on your whatever, your life. So this one is made to come off. You can, in a true traveler's notebook that's not made from scratch, if your materials are harder here, you can actually put a hole in the back of this, slip this through, and tie a bead to it. And then you have a pretty little embellishment on the front of your notebook. So you have, this is my simple, quick and easy, let's make a notebook, traveler's notebook to take with me. I take mine with me on road trips. And again, as you fill up these signatures, you can take them out. You take one out and you slide a new one in. But here's what we ended up with. Just here's the one I made with the inside cover. Some blank pages, some grid papers, some blank paper, my second one. But you know, we get all this junk in the mail, and this is a way to recycle what you have and use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy cardstock paper and pretty papers. I suggest if you do buy that kind of thing, like this that I have on in here, wait till it goes on sale. Several of the craft stores, big craft stores, they have half off coupons, 60% off coupons. If you buy it on sale. Sometimes they have this stuff on sale for half off anyway. A couple times a month, maybe once a month. But don't pay full price for this stuff. I mean, it can get really costly. But here's my little notebook, and my next video will be things you can do with it, how you can decorate it, and happy travels.